Hi, this is Lisa Loeb, and I'm here with Rabbi Sol Solomon on Dave's Gone By, UNC Radio.
Shalom, shalom uvracha. Is this Lisa Loeb on the telephone?
Yes, this is Lisa. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing delightfully, my dear. How are you?
I'm doing great.
This is good. Most important first question, what is your Hebrew name?
My Hebrew name is, let me think what it is. This is terrible. I should know what my Hebrew...
You should know what your Hebrew name is.
I'm going to go look at my ketubah, and I will tell you what my Hebrew name is. Let's see, there's not a lot of... I feel like it's Leah. I feel like every time we try to figure it out, I can't remember.
Could be Lisa, like in The Sound of Music?
Yeah. I don't think so. I feel like it's... What do I think it's...
Lorelei? Perhaps? No, I don't
Roy...
Leopold?
Let me... Hold on, that's my husband's name is Roy. I'm after him. Roy Ben Dvora.
Been a while since you've read your ketubah, I can see that.
I'm trying to read it. It's tiny words, and there's no vowels, which is not helping me.
Well, yeah, but you've got those good glasses.
I don't know what my... I should know what my Hebrew name is, and I don't. I think it's Leah. I feel like it's Leah.
Well, we'll go with...
I could be wrong.
Okay. You have to answer
my daughter's
to God.
Hebrew name.
Well, I'm sorry, what?
I know my daughter's Hebrew name.
Oh, what is your daughter's Hebrew name?
It's Shoshana. Her
she's
English
Susan?
name is Lila, which is, a different Hebrew word, but it's Shoshana. Because her middle name is Rose, and Shoshana is kind of Rose-ish.
Well, Shoshana, I don't remember that. They used to
Lily.
use that
I think it's actually Lily, but people think it's Rose.
Okay. Oh, I get another flower. That means
exactly.
Lila means night.
And my son is Emmet, and his Hebrew name is Emmet.
Oh, of course. The truth.
The great name.
Truth be told. And Mazel Tov, by the way, on having a husband and kids and all that. And one of the questions I wanted to ask Lisa Loeb is how you are able to do these different things. You do voice work on cartoons, you do acting, you do the music, of course, and yet you also have to be a wife and a mom.
Yeah, it's something that I've been working on. I think trying to balance everything is constant. One thing I definitely do is I always, it's natural, but I also remind myself that my priority is my family. So all the decisions I make, the family is the first, the most important thing. Spending time with my kids face-to-face with them and my husband, doing things that are for the family. Now, that being said, one of my jobs is to help provide for the family. So that's something I also have to consider when I'm deciding what I'm going to do, what I'm not going to do.
Can you do a tour for more than 2 weeks?
I try not to tour more than like 7 days tops, which includes travel. Every once in a while, like when I went to Japan, I had to be away, I think, for 10 days. Every once in a while, and often it's less days than that. Like I did just a single show in Napa Valley, or I have 3 shows in Southern California coming up, and I get to come home and sleep every night afterwards.
So that must help. At least you're able to have a home base.
Yeah, sometimes it's confusing, though, coming and going. Sometimes it's easier just to be gone for 2 days and then come home. And on top of that, I have a really supportive family and babysitter, nanny, people who the kids trust, who I feel like the kids are safe and, doing well with. And my husband's very involved, and we often will fly in-laws to help out if I'm gone for more than a few days, so that there's some quality family time happening for the kids. So that's also really important. So there's those logistics, and just deciding which projects to do. Oftentimes I do things that inspire me. People come to me with projects. Again, I'm one of the breadwinners, so that's a big consideration as far as what I do and what I don't do.
But I didn't even mention when I'm saying that you have to play the music, you have to go here, you have to do that, you have to be...
write music and record music and stay healthy.
But that's the thing, where do you find the time also, and you make the time, to write a little almost every day, right?
No, I should write every day, but I don't. But I do capture ideas when I have them on a tape recorder, or, my phone, actually, or I write stuff down on pieces of paper everywhere. It's funny, I'm actually writing a little article about this right now, this exact thing. I was just talking to my friend Cliff Goldmacher, who's one of the writers I write with.
Okay.
He has a songwriting website it's called Educated Songwriter, and he wanted me to write about balancing my family and my creativity, and part of it is in order to write, often I collaborate, because that's an appointment that needs to be made that's usually done outside of the house, away from the family. That's the most successful, focused way to do it. So, I'm just trying to not be too hard on myself. I really do have young children, and I do want to spend time with them, and bedtimes are involved, and so I do my best to write whenever I can. I write towards projects, like I have a kids musical I'm doing right now, and I'm working with 2 different songwriters on that, as well as 2 people who are writing the book. So it's like a lot of collaborations that involve working together as a team and setting appointments to work together. That helps a lot.
It's like that brill building ethos. I mean, you don't do it when you're home. You don't do it in the free time. You go to work. You punch a clock. You go in with these other people. You work with them. Everybody gets inspired, hopefully. And then you go home and you do the other things.
Exactly. So, I'm still trying to figure it out. And then, again, like I said, I have to be realistic. And every once in a while, I'm like, wait a minute. I've got a 5-year-old and a 2.5-year-old children who I'm super involved in every moment of their life. And I've got 7,000 other career things going on. I got to take it easy. Like, I just, I have to work a lot, but I also need to I'm not a robot. I got to sleep. I got to eat. I have to, do normal stuff.
And it's almost impossible to imagine Lisa Loeb taking it easy, considering all the things you do. Forgive me for not giving you a proper introduction, to say that you are a Grammy nominee, that you've had several albums like Tales and Firecracker and No Fairy Tale, and the children's music, and you founded an organization to send underprivileged kids to camp, and you got a line of eyeglasses. For crying out loud, when do you sleep?
I try to sleep from about 10:30 to 6:30 every night is my plan. Doesn't always work that way, but that's the plan.
Well, the 5-year-old's in kindergarten, so at least that one away or not
Not
yet?
in kindergarten, actually. She's in pre-K. She just turned 5, so she's not in kindergarten yet. But she'll be in kindergarten next year. And my son goes to sort of school a few days a week also. And like I said, I have a great nanny who helps me take them to the park sometimes and do all kinds of things with them.
So let me ask you, when they're old enough, they go to Hebrew school?
Oh, definitely. I mean, my kids were at Jewish preschool for a while.
What do you learn in Jewish preschool? It's like kosher clay. What?
No. They learn about all the different holidays. There's a lot of Hebrew. There's a lot of Hebrew songs. My husband's family is Israeli also, so they need to learn their Hebrew. I actually started going back and relearning my reading Hebrew that I started learning when I was 12 for my bat mitzvah. I think I had the exact same reader, where you learn all the sounds and the words and how to say everything. I got to a point where I'm like, gosh, I know about 60% of how to read Hebrew, and the other 40% that I don't know, I kind of know. I should just figure this out. So somebody had given me the little blue, how to read Hebrew book, and I'm like, every night I do a couple of pages before I go to sleep, just, reminding myself of all the letters.
Right.
I think it's important, I think I grew up going to Hebrew school and Sunday. We called it Sunday school because we did our religious school on Sundays before Hebrew school, and I think it's really important, as much as I can. What I'm trying to do is also integrate a lot of Jewish things into our daily life.
Like?
Instead of it just being, this is the day that we learn stuff about being Jewish, and here's Hanukkah, and here's Passover, and here's, I think being at the Hebrew school and the Jewish school when the kids were really young, that reminded me that, this is how you teach kids, some of the bullet points, some of the Hallmark holidays, but there's more Hallmark holidays when you're actually at school. Purim is much more important than it was that I knew than when I was growing up, and kids can have fun with it, and Tu B'Shvat, and all these different great holidays. So, I'm trying as much as I can to integrate. We do Shabbat on Friday nights.
Do you really? Every Friday you light the candles in the house? That's lovely.
Yes. Sometimes we say blessing over the tortillas instead of the challah, but we do the blessing every Friday. We do Shabbat pretty much every Friday night.
Are you kosher?
No, we're not kosher.
Neither am I. It's all right. Don't tell anybody.
We're not kosher, but, we still, we talk about things from a Jewish perspective a lot, so I don't know. I think it's really interesting because I know being Jewish was important to my family when I was growing up, but I didn't necessarily always have a real connection to it other than the fact that it's like, we're Jewish, we're supposed to be Jewish. It's just interesting to keep trying to find that philosophical connection between holidays and things that you do and why you do them and how it works. Without also, I think when I was growing up, there's a lot of, I'm Jewish and you're Christian, and you get nervous if you heard the word Jesus. You didn't know what you're supposed to do. But I think there's a lot more multiculturalism, different types of religion that can coexist, and it's good to help
No, when I hear the name...
So they feel comfortable and not nervous about it. You know what I mean?
Well, yes and no. I mean, still, when I hear the J word, I run and vomit. I just can't handle it.
No.
It's very difficult for me. But do your in-laws still live in Israel?
No, they live in New Jersey.
Oh, well.
But they're from Israel. They grew up in Israel. Mostly in Israel.
So let me ask, do they, being Jewish as you are, having a husband whose parents are from Israel, are you very Zionistic, I hope?
Yeah. That's what, it's a real thing when you have family who actually lives there.
True.
So trying to figure out, how we can keep Israel and try to get some more peace.
Oh, good luck.
Oy.
Good luck on that. No, but it's so many left-wing liberal Jewish people are bending over backwards to say, the Palestinians are killing us, but it's our fault. And I get sick of that.
This is a huge discussion.
Well, true. Which you don't want to get into.
I don't want to get into it right now on the radio. Okay. But yeah, I think it's important for us to fight for Israel and again, just keep trying to fight for communication and for justice. Let's see what we can do.
Now, how did you meet your husband? Because people might remember there was a point you even did a reality show when you were single and trying to have a career and meet people, and then you didn't meet him from that show, right?
No, he never actually saw the show, but around sort of in a way we met through the show because he was developing a Food Network type of show, and he was looking for a host. And because I had hosted a show on the Food Network and I had done a reality show and produced the reality show, his attorney and my attorney wanted us to meet and see if I might be a good host for his TV show idea. So in a roundabout way, we met through the reality show, but it wasn't actually through the reality show.
I mean, I didn't hire you for his show. My goodness.
Oh, and he didn't develop the show.
Oh.
Now the show is about eating all different kinds of food all over the city, but I'm sort of a vegetarian at the time and definitely didn't eat meat. I don't eat meat, and there was a lot of finding the best hamburger in town or things that I don't think I'd be very helpful as a host.
So you are 100% now vegetarian or 80%?
No, I'm not. I'm not. When I was pregnant with my daughter, I started eating chicken again, which I ate when I was a kid.
Love chicken.
And and I eat fish. So I'm really not a vegetarian, but I do focus mostly on vegetables.
Did you feel better when you were a vegetarian, or did it not hurt to put a little meat back in your life?
It didn't. It really didn't feel different either way. I will say eating a lot of vegetables, more vegetables than we ate a lot of vegetables growing up, but I guess I eat tons and tons of vegetables. I never realized it until I'm with, in a different city with different people outside of Los Angeles. I realized, oh my God, I really do eat a lot of vegetables. The tomato on the plate doesn't count. I need my kale and my broccoli and all these vegetables. So eating a ton of vegetables, that makes me feel good.
Oh.
Eating meat eating fish and eating some chicken and eating cheese and pizza and a lot of bread and stuff like that, that doesn't make me feel bad, but what does make me feel bad is when I don't have the vegetables to go with it.
Interesting. We're talking, by the way, with Lisa Loeb, the singer, the songwriter. Let's roll it back to the early days. The questions that you've been... I'm reticent to ask some of the questions that you're asked a million times because you actually answer them and on your website under frequently asked questions. It's like, how did you get started? Well, I started making these cassette tapes. But might as well tell people, how did you get started?
Yeah, I played music my whole life. Again, coming from a Jewish family, it was typical that we took piano lessons and guitar lessons and a lot of different art lessons and performance lessons. And like other members of my family, I loved doing that stuff, and that's what I wanted to do as a profession. I don't know if I admitted it until I was all the way through high school, where I was in a cover band, and I was a DJ in high school on the radio station.
Yay!
And I DJ'd parties and did all kinds of stuff. And then and started writing music when I was a kid on piano, and then moved to guitar, where I wrote more and more songs.
Do you remember the first song that you ever wrote?
It was called Fried Eggs, not to be confused with Scrambled Eggs. Fried Eggs.
Yeah.
These little socks. Actually, you know what? That wasn't the first song I wrote. That was the first song I wrote on guitar. I don't remember what I wrote. Something on piano when I was a kid. We had to write songs as part of our music class, so I wrote when I was a kid. But yeah, I wrote a lot of music, performed music in high school, then went to college. I went to Brown University, and my freshman roommate, Liz Mitchell, and we immediately hit it off and had a band for 6 years, even past college. We had a band, and were recording music and playing concerts, and then I moved to New York City. And it was a pretty great transition to New York City because we had a lot of friends who were part of our fan base also who came to New York, and we were already playing concerts in New York. So it was great to continue that in the city and continue recording. And then my song Stay, which I had written in New York and played a lot, my song Stay was put onto the Reality Bites soundtrack. Ethan Hawke, the actor, passed. He asked me for a recording of the song because he really liked it.
He used to live across the street, right? Sorry, he used to live across the street from you, right?
He did. He was a friend of mine. I met him through some friends of mine from college, some actor friends who had been in a movie with him, and he became one of my friends. He lived across the street. We all kind of ran around, a bunch of musicians and actors and playwrights and all kinds of people. We all ran around together and hung out and supported each other and had fun doing that.
And he got your tape to Ben Stiller, who was going to...
got it to Ben Stiller, and Ben Stiller and Stacey Scher, who was the producer, they decided to put the song into the movie Reality Bites. And it was really exciting. And it was on the soundtrack also, and it was just a very exciting time.
And was that the song that became the very first time that a song that wasn't from a major label hit number one on the Billboard charts?
Yeah, I wasn't even signed to a label then. It was like the first unsigned artist to hit number one on the charts. It was really incredible. It was a really exciting time. And what's great, too, is I have always been really close with my family and friends. So I had a great support system around me then, too, and we were all able to enjoy the excitement of it. Sometimes you get so busy when success is happening that you don't have time to take a step back and look at it and say, wow, this is really cool. But, when your mom and your sister and your friends can say, oh my God, this is so cool, aren't you so excited? This is so exciting. You can actually have the time to be excited and to enjoy it. So
and also,
it's a really cool time. Because
you had that support system, you didn't fall in, as far as I know, into the usual thing of drugs and alcohol and crazy partying.
And no, that's not really my style. I think also to be a singer and to be a professional touring musician, you have to be so on your game. You can't, at least for me, it was important to me to have a healthy voice and to feel healthy and I look better when when I'm not drinking. I want to protect my voice and take care of it, and so that was more important to me. And I don't know, I've always been sort of probably a person who follows the rules too, even though it's very independent to have a career that was so different from anybody's, which was really amazing. I also I was working really hard, so I don't really have time to mess around like that.
You would figure most bands and most artists don't, but then you hear about how they live their lives and somehow manage. I guess until you're about 35.
Well, some people can do it. Some people can take it physically, and it doesn't affect them as much. I don't know. I feel like it can be fun to do all that kind of stuff, and maybe if you're in a band and less is sort of reliant on you specifically, you have a little bit more leeway to do that kind of stuff. But for some of us,
it's just you out there.
Just doesn't work exactly.
So you went from being an unsigned artist to being on a major label, and then you've had to undergo the sea change, as so many artists have, of what happened to the major labels, being your own business person in the music field, not just an artist. What has that been like?
I love being a part of the business side of it as well. For some reason, I'm able to really separate the business and the creative side, and I enjoy the business part. It's very, I don't know, it's kind of competitive, it's entrepreneurial, it's creative. Trying to have success in it is just really exciting. And so I've always been interested in reading books about the music industry or meeting people who can tell me about it, or attorneys, or just different people involved in it. So that's always been interesting. What's going on behind the scenes is interesting to me. And then the other part of me is the part of me that actually makes the music and creates the music. So it's always been exciting, and then now more than ever, it's just really common and necessary, and necessary to be an independent artist and have a lot of new ideas and interesting ways to market yourself and to get people the music that you're making. It's just so exciting.
But would you be able to just have the career that you have, make a living without the income that you get from the voiceovers? Because you do a lot of cartoons and
that actually is really great. Having other different things that I do is great because everybody has read about and has heard about how musicians and songwriters the income, the revenue stream has really gone down because, you know, a lot of music is available for free. We all do it. We all go on YouTube and say, oh, I just want to hear that one song really quick, and then you find it for free somewhere instead of, in the olden days, you have to go to the record store, buy the record, listen to it.
Right, absolutely.
You know, drive there. You know, I remember my mom driving all over town to try to find the song Brand New Key for me, the Melanie record, which I think at the time was like out of print. Now you just turn on your phone and you find it. It's just there. So yeah, revenue streams are not what they used to be for royalties for songwriters and performing musicians, which is really unfortunate. I think a lot of songwriters and musicians are going to have to stop doing it if they're not able to make a living and pay their band and, you know, pay for basic costs.
Although I will say, and honest to goodness, I was watching the television yesterday and an advertisement came on for this movie. Was it Space Time Hot Tub 2?
Yeah, Hot Tub Time Machine.
Hot Tub Time Machine 2. I didn't know there was a 1, with all due respect.
Oh, it was a good one, yeah.
No idea. But they make a sequel to it, and suddenly they're name-checking you on the commercial. Have you heard this?
Yes, I know. I know all about it. I think it's hilarious. I'm a huge fan of Craig Robinson, who in the movie dresses up as me in my dress, in my glasses, and recreates my video, it looks like, from the video.
Wow. So let me ask, speaking of your look and the fact that you do have a look and a style, how important is that, do you think, to artists, from the Beatles to Dylan to you, to everyone? It isn't just the music, even before MTV, but especially after MTV.
It's really fun. I mean, my favorite examples are some of the ones you've said, and also like David Bowie, Elton John, people whose music really is what you focus on, but the costumes are also really fun. The outfit, the attitude, the drama of it all. I think that's really fun. And it also, you know, I hated to think about that a lot, especially when I got started. I wanted people really to know me for my music, not for my glasses. But that being said, you know, there's tons and tons of musicians out there, and it's kind of cool to have something that sets you apart. To me, it's important that it's something that's honest, that I feel comfortable with, and my glasses are very honest. I can't see without them. So I love the fact that my own style choice became kind of a recognizing factor in me as a musician.
And also as an entrepreneur, though, how did it go from, people identifying with my glasses, they like my different glasses, to saying, wouldn't it be cool if I could design something like other people would wear, to actually having, how did you go from point A to point C?
You know, it's been a very long process. It's something that I wanted. It's something that I talked to people about. It's something that I put it out there, you know, in the universe, which basically means I said, you know, this is something I really want, and I started meeting some different people who might be interested. And then we were on our way back from Israel, and we sat next to somebody on an airplane on our stop through Italy who designs eyewear displays. And he connected me with a company in San Diego of people who are looking for somebody to work with to do an eyewear line. So it was like this perfect thing. So I met this great company down in San Diego called Classique Eyewear, and we.
But it's not like they just it's not like they put your name on their glass. You have input into.
Yeah. I work with them really closely. We work with the designers to create things that resonate with what I like and what I would wear. I'm very involved in picking the materials, and you know, we work with real professionals who are great, experienced eyewear designers who can take my look and have a few different takes on it, so that there's something for everyone. There's different colors. There's a lot of classic things like tortoiseshell and black glasses, but there's also some really great colors and jewel tones and different shapes and sizes that some of them don't look exactly right on me, but they still have that feeling, something a little retro, but like sexy librarian.
Right. That's my favorite.
Yeah, me too.
Well, those and pince-nez fogged bifocals. Those are special. I just wear them for myself sometimes.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. But now we just have a couple more minutes with the delightful and the Jewish Lisa Loeb. So let me ask you, speaking of different takes on things, do you know before you sit down whether you're going to be writing, now that you're doing also a lot of music for young people, do you get the sense immediately that the song you're going to do is for grown-ups or for children? When does that part click?
I usually know when I'm going to be writing for kids or for grown-ups. When I started off, because I had specific projects I was working on, like I wanted to do a summer camp songs record, so I was thinking about that. We had some illustrated kids books. One of them is called Songs for Moving and Shaken, so we wanted songs that made kids feel like they want to move. There's other songs that are silly sing-alongs, so we wanted to do silly sing-alongs. So that inspired me. Now, having done some kids' music, when I sit down to write something, it might end up being a kid's thing, it might end up being a grown-up thing. There's even a trend. I just wrote a song with my friend Renee Stahl and this other guy, Rich Jacques, Rich Jack.
Yeah.
That we wrote a song that's it's more family friendly. It's not necessarily exactly for kids. And I wrote a similar song with another friend of mine recently, with a guy named Eric Lumiere. We're just finishing it up. And again, it's a song about being yourself, and it's one of those songs like I like to teach the world to sing when we were a kid, when I was a kid, which was like something that made you feel like you wanted to sing. It's definitely appropriate for kids, but it's also for grown-ups. Like it's that kind of song. So there's sort of a trend some of us have in writing songs like that too, where it's somewhere in the middle. You don't know exactly what it is.
Cool. And speaking of children, we do have to, and again, sorry for not mentioning enough the fact that you have a musical opening off Broadway this month. It's called Camp Kappawanna. And
yes.
I mean, did you? I hated camp when I was a kid.
Oh, you're one of the people who hated camp.
Oh, Ocean Parkway Jewish Day Camp.
You should have hated camp. Like I had bad allergies. I don't love doing sports. I mean, now I do, but at the time I was like, I don't like doing sports. I do love arts and crafts. But through going to camp, I ended up loving camp. I loved all the challenges, trying things I never did before. I loved it. I met a bunch of new kids. It was a very independent feeling to be away from my parents. And again, it was a little daunting getting on that bus to go to camp, but I ended up loving it. And so I'm sorry you didn't have a good experience, you and Sarah Silverman. But I did love going to camp, and so I wanted to do some projects based in that.
And Camp Kappawanna tells of a young girl her first time in camp. What's the story?
Yeah, it's a group of kids. It sort of follows the story of a few different kids, and I would say most of them don't really want to go to that camp once they show up. But it's kind of an old school story about rival camps and about kids coming into their own at summer camp with some really, really, if I may say so myself, some really cool music.
You may say so yourself.
Grown-ups alike also.
Oh, lovely. You have to understand, like my great-grandparents went to camp. Unfortunately, it was Auschwitz. So.
That's a whole other thing.
Whole different.
I was hoping you wouldn't get into that.
Oh, I get into that all the time. Of course I do.
I don't mind talking about that, but just the two.
So while we still have a moment or two or three, and when you have to go, it won't be rude.
I do have to go in literally 1 minute.
1 minute. So can you tell in 55 seconds the Danny Elfman story?
Oh, I was at the Sundance Film Festival. I went to go see a bunch of different film composers speak because I'm a huge fan of Stuart Copeland from the band The Police, and he was writing a lot of TV and film music, and I wanted to go see him speak. Also on the panel was Danny Elfman, who, in my mind, was a guy from Oingo Boingo, who also did a ton of music for film. And at some point he said, he was talking about music being placed in films and how he hates when he sees movies where obviously they just took a hit song out of the sky and put it into a scene that didn't have any relationship to the movie. Like, for example, the movie Twister, when one of the lead characters is taking a shower and all of a sudden this hit song comes on the radio, has nothing to do with it. And I raised my hand and I said, that's my song. And actually, I got nervous inside when I was standing up, but I stood up and I was like, actually they sent me the script, they sent me the scene that they had already shot. I wrote specifically in the voice of the character who it was about, making sure I explained, making sure in the song that I was touching on the fact that she's trying to figure out the balance between her career and her family and her love life. And I set the tone through the recording. We worked on the way it was produced to fit perfectly into the scene. So that actually is not a great example of what you're saying.
And how did Danny Elfman respond to this?
He was so embarrassed, and now every time I see him for the last 15 years, if I see him around, he's like, oh my God, I'm still so embarrassed about that thing I said. I was like, well, I agree with you. I also don't like when a song sort of comes out of nowhere that has nothing to do with the scene. But that was just not a good example.
Well, you have set a wonderful example for us here in the neighborhood. Lisa Loeb, I wish you much success with Camp Kappawanna, with all your music projects for grown-ups and children, with your raising your own children, your marriage, and your eyewear, and everything you do. A blessing on you, and we thank you so much for sharing your time with us today.
Thank you so much, and I hope to see some people out there on the road.
Shalom to you.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.